Hello friends! Today we are going to make one of my favorite recipes, something that I think everybody who's tried it has really liked, and a lot of you wanted to know how to make it. So I'm going to show you how to make lo mein with zucchini noodles or zoodles. And some goodies that my sister sent me from Trader Joe's. I can only make this probably 3 or 4 times with the Trader Joe's ingredients that I have, so I figured I'd film one of them so I can make sure that I get it out there for you guys while I still have the ingredients. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the spiralizer, and the question isn't how did I live without it? It's why. Why did I ever live without this thing? It is so easy. I used to have the manual kind where you'd go and cork it through. Now you just rotate and it's so easy. So I have 4 large zucchinis here. Usually I would say, because it has a lot of water so it cooks down a lot, I'd usually say 1 zucchini per person, 1 large zucchini per person. I only have 4, so that's what I'm going to use, and I have 7 people I'm going to feed, so maybe we'll have to figure out something to go with it. When you have a zucchini like this, I think it's best to cut it because the straighter it is, the easier it is to put through the spiralizer. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one like this, so I got the straight portion, and then next up will be a little bit tricky to do the curve, but it's not a big deal. I'm using this blade, which is going to give me a medium-sized noodle. If I were to use a blade like this, it would give me a larger noodle because this is what separates the noodles into individual strands. And they're further apart, so obviously it'll give me a larger noodle. So I'll slide that back in and plug it in like that. It has a little lever so I can suction cup it to the table. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but it doesn't hurt. And then I like my lower bowl so it can go directly in there. And you just start spiralizing. I'm going to hook the ends once it gets going into the bowl, and then they'll just slide automatically in. The thing is, you have to remember to pinch them off every once in a while, because otherwise it'll just be a really long noodle and it's really difficult to eat. I've seen some people put a slice in the zucchini just halfway through, so the radius of the zucchini. That hasn't worked very well for me just because it gets a little bit more challenging to actually put it through the spiralizer, but it's an idea and you can try it and see if it works for you. The spiralizer I got from Amazon, and I think it was about $24 and worth every penny. So I'm just going to keep going through this half of the zucchini so we can see the final result of this, and then I'll do the rest off camera. We're getting into our hot months here in Costa Rica. It's the end of March. It's actually the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, and we are in the northern hemisphere here, but people tend to consider December, January, February, March, even into April summer around here, even though technically it's winter because we're in the northern hemisphere, but we're getting really warm now. The rainy season will start, and it's my first rainy season, so I'm a little bit nervous that I'm going to get, I don't know, depressed or something because of all the rain, but we'll see. Almost done with this half of the zucchini, and I'll show you what we have. So left with the spiralizer, we have this portion, we have some crud on the blade, And then this part, which I pulled off about halfway through, and that's the part that feeds through the spiralizer. So I'm just gonna toss those. I suppose I could cut them up and add them. Maybe I'll do that with the next ones. And this is how much I got from half of that large zucchini. And that's gonna cook down quite a bit to probably a quarter this size. So I'll take care of the rest of the zucchinis, but I'll just mention real quick, I'm going to cut up a little bit of onion. I don't like onion very much, but I'll cut up a few slices and put it in with the sesame oil when I'm first starting to heat my pan. And I'm also going to throw in some sweet peppers. I would normally use, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 bell peppers of different colors, but I can't buy bell peppers here, so I'm going to work with what I have.
¿Caro es voladito? ¿Caro?
24 dólares.
Allá.
No es muy barato, pero no está malo.
Do you have to do like music over this?
Para lo que hace la función, va.
¿Sí?
Para si quiere poner el chile allí, lo pone también. Y lo
Podemos.
probar ahí.
Sí, poquito de chile.
Lo ven alrededor, lo dan esto. Solo de
Oh. Sí, podemos. So I have, I'm guessing, about 2 tablespoons worth of sesame oil in the frying pan with just a few slices of onions. And that is hot. I have it on high heat. I am going to put in a large part, if not the rest, of my zoodles. I'm going to let it cook down a little bit. So it'll be a couple minutes there. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it, and I might actually strain out some of the water at some point. Oftentimes I make the zoodles the night before and let them dry out. I didn't do that this time, so I'm going to go ahead and strain off some of that extra moisture that's there. So I just strained off probably about 3/4 of a cup of water, and I am going to add in a little bit of rice vinegar. I don't know how much that was. I'm guessing a good tablespoon's worth. Now I'm going to add in a heaping teaspoonful of minced garlic. And I don't actually have measuring spoons here. I purged my kitchen before leaving Minnesota, and I think I did too much purging because that would have been something really simple to bring along. And considering I'm being super strict, because we don't have much of a budget, I haven't purchased any more. So when I go back to the States, I'll see what I have and see if I can bring down some measuring spoons. Now I'm going to add in the veggies that I chopped up. This is my second batch of the zoodles that I'm going through. So this is the remainder of those chopped up veggies. I will toss them in. I'm going to let it cook for just a couple minutes just to kind of get that rawness off of the veggies, but they don't need to cook too long. So this dish is a great way to be able to cut down on your carbs because you can use those zoodles instead of noodles. And the last thing I'm going to do is throw in some of this Trader Joe's soyaki sauce. It is kind of halfway between soy sauce and teriyaki sauce. Whenever I see these sorts of ingredients, I'm a little bit worried about sodium. And this one has 490 milligrams of sodium, which is 21% in 1 tablespoon. So it is kind of high. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not something that you want to go overboard with. So I am just going to toss in Actually, let me put the cover back on and shake it up a little bit. And then I will toss in, I'm going to guess, a half a cup. You can always add to taste later on. I'll mix that up. And here we have the final product. Zucchinis made this bowl. I'm going to make it in at least 2 batches because my frying pan isn't very large. And like I said, or as you I'm sure know, zucchini is so high in water that it's going to cook down quite a bit. And in retrospect, I would have used the large noodle blade for this because these ended up being a little bit thin and flimsy. But I'm sure it'll still taste good. And it looks like I got some really long pieces in there. I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and then I'm going to stir it up. This exact recipe, and I hesitate to call it a recipe just because I'm not really measuring anything, I'm just kind of tossing things in, but this exact technique and ingredients can be used to make broccoli, riced broccoli, so fried riced broccoli. At Trader Joe's they sell bags of little riced broccoli. I'm sure you can rice your own broccoli, and I'm sure they sell it elsewhere as well. But you can use it. The only difference would be, once I'm frying that up with the toasted sesame, I would make a little valley in it, and I'd crack an egg into it and fry it up with that egg in there to make it more like fried rice. But you really can't tell the difference between fried rice broccoli and fried rice, or Zoodle Lo Mein and regular lo mein. So I think it's a great way to cut down on carbs and get more veggies into your diet.
Sí.